All right, Mark here. This is a video on how you absolutely do not want an easy life, why you should not wish for that, and how to make your life harder. You might be listening to this and going, my life's already fucking hard enough, Mark. And I get it. I really fucking get it right now. Um, why might you not want an easy life, though? Why might you not want one? Well, who are you going to become with an easy life? You don't have any challenge, you don't have any difficulty in your life. You design this wonderful life. I mean, this is in many ways the story of Western civilization. We have designed an easy life. I'm in a comfortable house. I've got a belly with food in. I've got, outside the civil order. I've got a pretty comfortable life. This is natural that people would want to design this for their societies and for their own lives in general. But it makes us weak. That's the story of decadence. That's the story of decadence. And if you know people that haven't had that many challenges in your life, they're not all that, are they? You tend to see this in sort of wealthy families that people naturally want to make their kids' life easier when they've got some money, and they do that. And often those kids grow up to not really do much, not really to achieve anything, to be much, do stuff, whatever your criteria is for that. So it's weird. It's like we want our kids to have money, but then that that wealth means they don't do anything with their lives. It's a shame, huh? The other thing that occurs to me is, in a way, nobody has an easy life because, as the Buddha said, we are all subject to old age, disease, suffering, and death. That's just the deal. That's the price you pay for admission into being human. Um, Given that, your life will become very, very hard. If you've ever seen an old person, I don't know, choking on their last breath, there's a sort of way people rattle when they're dying, when they try and breathe, when they're just running out of life. Every breath becomes war. Or a few days ago, I was in Bristol, went to the dentist, and on my way out of the dentist was a sort of old, quite obese lady, and she was in one of these sort of mechanical like little cart things, electronic ones they drive around. And she got to the dentist, but then there was 3 steps to the dentist. So it wasn't the second floor or anything. It was just 3 steps up. And as I was leaving, she was coming in. And I just said, do you need a hand, darling? Can I help? Turns out that was a 10-minute job. Yeah. For her to get up those 3 steps in the condition she was in, probably through no fault of her own, definitely old, that's someone's fault, right? Um, it was a struggle. Each step was like a war for her. She was sweating, she was panting, and she was holding on to me for dear life, like with fear, such fear, just to get up those steps. And I'm guessing if she was going to the dentist, she was probably in a lot of pain. Something quite serious must have gotten her out of the house. I don't know how old she was, but she was pretty. She wasn't in a great state. I don't know how she got down those steps because I got in the taxi and went home. But it's like that would have. I imagine getting down the steps would have been almost as much of a mission as getting up it. And that's just one little bit of her day. One little bit of her day. Now imagine the rest of her life had been easy. Imagine the rest of her life had been completely comfortable. Again, unlikely in many ways because people we love leave us, people we love die. We get different problems. At the moment, I've got a vision problem, and I see double, which is a problem. It's a fucking problem. I'm having brain scans at the moment to see what's going on. Hopefully, nothing too serious, but yeah, it could be. Potential sources include multiple sclerosis, brain tumours, and stroke, or just something fucking nothing anywhere near that serious. Right, that's my challenge this week. I was crossing. It comes and goes. Like I can just about see on the screen to record this, but there was a thing earlier this week when I was trying to cross the road and I couldn't really see if there's any cars. And then there was someone next to me who crossed the road, and I thought they're probably not fucking suicidal, so I just went after them. I thought that's new. I've never had the problem crossing the road before. So there's always challenges. But imagine if me or that woman, our life had been easy up to this point. We'd be so massively unprepared for old age, disease, in my case, maybe deterioration. hers, whatever, all the different challenges she was having. So it's like there's a bit of a contradiction, isn't there? Because if we give ourselves this easy, comfortable life as best we can, again, the civilization as a whole is doing that. Good, it's a good thing. You'd rather live in Western civilization than, I don't know, Afghanistan or Somalia or somewhere. But the condition of decadence in that civilization is we become weak. In our own life, we want to be comfortable, right? Like I want to be, like I'm going to go have dinner in a bit. I'm not going to, I want to eat. I want to be comfortable. So what do we do? Yeah. What do we do? Well, there's two things really. One is to deliberately make our life difficult in a calibrated, intelligent way with suitable recovery and rest. I'm going to go back to that. The other way is just to embrace whatever comes. It's to say, okay, this is training. This is training. This is a mindset, right? The mindset shifts may be easier. Other people have said this before, the Stoics and others. What if whenever something bad happens, I go, okay, this is training. This is training for whatever the next thing is. Yeah. This is training. Yeah. Whatever happens is training. This is training. To embrace it. It's not to celebrate, if you get ill or something bad happens, your partner leaves, whatever. But to embrace the attitude of embracing what is. I think that's a mindset. Training. Let's look at the longer video on embodied training for more on this. But basically, you need to deliberately expose yourself to hard things. I went weightlifting this morning. I meditate regularly. I was doing cold plunges, I think. Did I have one this morning? I don't think so. Yesterday. A lot of days I do that. Breath holds. For many years I did breath holds. Every morning waking up and holding your breath. And you really want to breathe, but you don't. You don't. Okay. At one point I pushed it so hard I actually wet myself doing breath holds. I was like, maybe pushing it a bit hard there, Mark. Do difficult things. Yeah. Do difficult things. Things that you choose. The element of deliberately choosing it is vital. Without that, you're in a victim position. Life's just hitting you. So we do that cognitively and spiritually by taking the stance as if we choose it when, your eyes be fucking whatever and funny shit happens in life. It's the same feeling of, I choose this, even when you actually didn't. It's kind of a shift. Yeah, it's a spiritual, mental, kind of perspectival shift. And then actually choosing some things. Yeah, choosing some things. Now, we need to make sure we're not just doing that. You also need to embrace pleasure, things that nourish you, things that are enjoyable. You need to have rest periods. Like, I'm covered in oil today. I had a massage today. I was like, okay, life's getting tricky at the moment. A few things going on I can't talk about as well. And I get a massage, do something pleasant, eat some good food. I spent time with a friend today. Nice conversation, basic stuff. Eco-regulation, co-regulation, self-regulation, touch, movement, stillness, aloneness, all the basic food groups of well-being. But in there has to be this difficulty. It also means when you do the difficult stuff, you way more appreciate the pleasurable stuff. It's like it resets, I don't know, probably a fucking dopamine system or something. It resets it so that you go, this is way more enjoyable now. Yeah. You found that out on holiday, if you go on holiday and you just try and enjoy something, you drink and you eat and you fuck and that's all great. And then after a few days, you stop enjoying it quite so much. Yeah. Then you go for a big hike and then you really enjoy your food afterwards. Yeah. I also go to the gym when I'm on holiday because again, do something hard, enjoy the other side more. Life is cyclical, right? Ups and downs, summers and winters, seasonal, cyclical. You need to work both ends of that. Yeah. So choosing to do it, you need to do it repeatedly. And it needs to be difficult enough that it's a challenge, but you're more or less most of the time overcoming that challenge. Yeah, pushing that envelope, growing that window of tolerance, they call it in trauma work. Not going so much that it's just overwhelming and then you feel like a failure and you're traumatized. This is sort of basic common sense. Good coaching if you're a coach. You always want, if you're coaching kids or adults or whatever, you always want to keep them in that zone of feeling challenged but not overwhelmed. On the verge of it sometimes. Not giving yourself any lasting damage, physically, psychologically, or whatever, but always doing things that push that edge. Yeah, there's the will to power, Nietzsche called it, the beautiful feeling of overcoming what one was, growing to something new. This is a basic human urge. Yeah. So would you really want an easy life? I've even been thinking, what's the optimal amount of trauma? You know, trauma, which by definition is overwhelming and damaging, but you go, okay, in a lifetime, trauma can lead to post-traumatic growth. I wouldn't wish traumatic things on anyone. Yeah, it's not an excuse to fucking traumatize people if you're out there, abusers and the like, yeah? But it's like, for myself, you know, what's an optimal amount of trauma? And I don't think the answer is none. I think the answer is some. Not all, but some, with recovery. In the same way as, you know, you do the workout, you recover, yeah? Basic adaptation of life, the system, but your system's as a compensatory mechanism, so you always overcompensate, yeah? I don't mean that psychologically. I mean, you know, with weights, it's like literally, you know, the muscle has to work hard, it can't do it, so it overcompensates, you grow muscle. Whoa, look at those guns. Yeah. Spiritually, would you want an easy life? Would you want that? Would you want that? It's interesting because when you're going through anything, you go, I don't want this. I don't want this. Yeah? And afterwards you go, wow, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. When you look at the long perspective, often things that made you what you are. Yeah, some of that's cope, some of that's meaning making. But I think there's something in it. You know, would the kindest God be the one who made a universe where no one suffered? Really? Think about that. What would that be like? In Buddhism, it's called the God realm. Yeah, everyone's kind of living forever. They still suffer a little bit in the God realm, actually, but not so much. In Buddhism, the human realm is the one where people suffer, but not so much that they can't learn, they can't grow. In the Buddhist tradition, they can't have access to the Dharma and become more skillful. The hell realm. These are all analogies, of course, for different ways to be human, different psychological states. The hell realm is where you're just in too much suffering. Yeah? The animal realm is too ignorant. There's not enough knowledge of what's going on. The Titan realm is the realm where you're just obsessed with fighting, and there isn't you're too caught in the battles. Hungry Ghost realm's like the addiction realm. Yeah, you're trying to cope with the difficulty, but you're caught in another trap. And the human realm is the one where you go, okay, things are kind of tough, but I've got good support. Yeah. In terms of one's training, that is actually the key thing, is how much support do I have? Like, where am I in my life right now? I sometimes say to my students, like, you can be 3 levels of practice. There's survival, where it's like you don't really want to make your life any harder because it's hard enough, so you just do the nourishing things, but you're slowly getting weaker as that happens. The normal level, where it's like, okay, I've got some challenges in life, but some resource, where you need to train again, or else you get weaker, and that's an opportunity to train, and that's most of your life, hopefully, you know, unless you really have get dealt a tough hand. You're always trying to get back to that point. You want to get back to the point where you're resourced enough where you can deliberately challenge yourself. Like right now, I'm almost in this kind of hell realm, but not quite. I've got a few hard things going on in my life, but okay, I've still got some capacity for training. Yeah. And the last period is like the heroic period, where you're like really well resourced. You know, you've been born wealthy, or you've just got to that point yourself. I'm just using financial as one kind of resource, right? Or you're just young, you know, like you're young and you're like, this is me when I was 25, gung ho for martial arts practice, loads of energy. Also, you know, I didn't have so many, you know, problems. You know, when I was 25, I was like, wasn't married, didn't have kids, didn't have a house, didn't have a business. That's the fucking time to do it. And yeah, it might be the end of your life, right? I've met monks who kind of, their kids left home, they wrapped up their businesses, the wife died, and they're like, fuck it, I'm going to be a monk. Heroic practice, 8 hours a day, 10, 12 hours a day, you know? Different time of life, right? So not always linear. It's often when people are young, but not always. Those 3 kind of, you know, am I in survival mode, am I in practice mode, or am I in sort of heroic, epic, now's the fucking time to go for it mode? Because I'm super well resourced in all those ways. Most of my students are in that middle zone most of the time. Some are always in the sort of survival, coping, doing the best they can kind of mode, which I get. And yeah, so this is different days, right? Like today is a Saturday, I'm relatively well resourced, I haven't got a load on. It's all right. It's all right. Bit of practice today, yeah? Yeah. Another one that I think here is the impact on compassion. Now, of course, in a perfect universe, maybe no one's suffering. Maybe, but as I said, maybe. But let's imagine I just had no sufferings. Well, I don't know how much empathy I'd have. I mean, for me as a coach, it's funny. I was going through something really harsh the other day, and one of my colleagues, students, and friends said, "This will make you a better coach." And I was like, "Fuck off," you know. But she's right. She's right. Like, there's more. You have to suffer in different ways to relate to more people's suffering. To truly relate, you don't have to have the exact same thing, right? Like, I don't know. I've never lost a spouse. I haven't had a spouse die, but I've had a really good friend die. Yeah, I had a really good friend kill herself. I was relating to someone that's coming to me with they had a weed addiction. Now, I've never had a weed addiction, but I have had an alcohol addiction. Yeah. You got to lose a bit, to get that. I think for many people, myself included, like it can close the heart to suffer. But if you've got some wisdom, some grace, good luck, some resourcing, some friends, it can open the heart. It can really open the heart to having compassion for other people's suffering. When you suffer yourself, if you're not totally under-resourced, and with maybe a bit of grace sometimes. There seems to be some people that have more grace than me and can suffer more with less support and still be okay, and other people less. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. It opens up compassion, I find. There's a sort of tenderizing effect of suffering. Maybe that's just a justification, though, We live in a world with suffering, and there's some way we want to make it meaningful. It's also heroic to just, if you can really face the world of like, this means nothing. It's all just random. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Often decadent cultures have that. And in my experience, it doesn't always end well. You need some form of meaning making and some kind of training. I think they're the key things with suffering. So should we pray for an easy life? God, part of me still wants to say yes. Part of me is thinking, why am I fucking telling people this? Part of me is like, I just want to lie on the beach and drink cocktails and get my dick sucked by models. Sorry, I was distracted there from it. Yeah, part of me definitely wants that. But I also know that kind of hedonistic fantasy, because of the hedonic treadmill, you get diminishing returns on that shit anyway. Yeah. So I think I do believe it. Maybe I'm just telling you. I think I do believe it when I say I don't want an easy life. Usually I'm like in brackets, but a bit easier would be fucking nice. No. Embrace the suck. Who says that? Goggins or someone? Yeah. Fucking musings. Musings for a Saturday night. I'm recording this. What am I doing? Getting old. Hope you got something from that, guys.